Hi everybody, I'm here to report on last night's 3-0 defeat by Brann in Norway in the Europa League. And usually I would start with positives, but I can't do that this morning because there ain't no positives. This was downhill all the way. In fact, to be downhill, you have to start with a high point. We started at ground zero and we've dug a hole even deeper. I'll say this, you have to exonerate the manager. He's only been in the door 2 days, so even Pep wouldn't have got a tune out of this bunch of losers. That's the best way to refer to them. So I'm now doubting if this manager is going to change very much, at least in the short term. So he's exonerated. Player-wise, the only one I would exonerate would be the goalkeeper, Jack Butland, made 2 or 3 decent saves, didn't make any mistakes. I'll give him a pass. And the rest of them, absolutely diabolical, hopeless, pathetic, like schoolboys. Some of them look as if they've never played a game of football in their life, never mind professional football. Anyhow, I'll come back to that later. I'll start by saying that when we got the new manager, we'd get rid of the dud Martin, and we thought things can only get better. Some of these guys look decent players, they look as if there's a player in some of them. And after last night, I'm beginning to wonder, apart from maybe Gassama, if any of these players are ever going to come good, no matter who the manager is. By the way, I've worn this shirt. This is the 150th anniversary shirt to celebrate the founding of the club and the early days of the club. And I can tell you this, way back then in Victorian times, in the 1870s, when we started out, you could take these guys from that era, if you could transport them right now to Ibrox, they'd play better than this mob of charlatans, because at least they'd be determined, tough, get stuck in, they would have the right mentality, they wouldn't know anything about tactics, obviously, but that's irrelevant when you can't even get the basics right, which means getting stuck in, showing bravery, showing determination, marking your opponent, chasing them, sliding into tackles and being available for a pass, and when you get the ball, take it forward, either run with it forward or pass it forward and then move forward into space. All the things we're lacking. These Victorian guys would have done that. They wouldn't have had a clue about tactics and formations, etc., but they would have done the basics correctly, and we can't even do that. That's the first thing the manager has to do, get the basics correct, and especially the mentality. You can see the mentality is weak, just as the physical attributes are weak. They can't tackle, they can't track runners, they don't show the determination and the guts to actually mark somebody, to actually put a boot on them if they have to. They can't even get near some of the opponents. They're just so weak physically. They're shrugged off the ball. They just look as if they can hardly be bothered putting a foot in, never mind a real tackle. Players run away from them. That's if they're anywhere near them in the first place. So anyhow, all these things hopefully have to get fixed quickly. We're just going to go from one bad game to another, especially in Europe. We're going to end up with no points, nil point, as they say in the Eurovision Song Contest. We'll be the British entry equivalent in the Europa this year. So that's all the folks. We've got, everybody knows it. We've seen them for years, actually. It's a mentality thing to start with. How the manager solves this, who knows? I think he's got to at least make it harder to beat. So maybe go with 3 at the back and more ball winners in midfield. Forget the 2 wingers right now, because they're not producing the goods either. So harder to beat, more solid, get the confidence going, and then you can introduce some more subtlety and skill and attacking flair if we actually have it available to us, which I seriously doubt. But anyhow, it's not looking good. When you think about that game last night, 3 dreadful goals to lose. And I'm going to go in a rant for once on our captain hero, Tavernier. He should have been gone 2-3 seasons ago. He shouldn't have been in the team from the start of this season. But of course, every manager we've ever had since Gerrard seemed to think he's indispensable. This guy wouldn't be in the team if Sterling was fit and could keep fit. Unfortunately, that's unlikely, I would say. Aarons is a dud as well, so we've no other right back. So it's up to the new manager to start thinking outside the box. We cannot continue with Tavernier at right back, let alone as captain. Why don't you try something like put Barron at right back? He's quicker, stronger in the tackle, more determined, can get up and down the park, gives his all. He'd be a far better right back than Tavernier or any of the other ones, I've got to be honest. So a bit of thinking out the box might help. But Tavernier, last night, the first goal, just before half time, we were bad. They had been making a lot of chances and anything. We'd actually had 3, I think. But the goal just before half time really puts us in the wrong track if we hadn't already been on it. They get the ball deep in their own half, one pass and one shot later, and then another shot, and it's in the net. And the one pass deep in their own half, if you freeze the TV screen, Souttar's in the centre circle, marking his man. So is Giga to the left of him, marking his man. So they're doing their job. Tavernier's a few yards in the opposition half. And 10 yards behind him, in our half, you've got the guy who's going to run in and goal. Tavernier doesn't even seem to know he's there. So when the ball goes between him and Souttar, this guy just runs onto it. He's in and goal. Souttar tries to come across and block him, deflects it, or sort of deadens the shot. So the guy who's been backing him up in midfield, he just runs in and puts it into the net with, what's his name, Giga, I think it was, and Raskin adrift, too slow to react, behind the guy, can't get a tackle in, easy goal. I mean, that's all down to Tavernier, and not the first time he's done that. In fact, I think it was against Dundee United. Exactly the same pass, the same move, his same positioning, except that time the guy flashed it past the right-hand post when it could have been in the net. So we've got to get rid of him, no matter who takes his place. We've got to get rid of him. You can't have a guy that's not even aware where the opposition is, who's running past him, who's already behind him, who's waiting for a pass from a 1-2, etc. Again, third goal, I think it was, he fails to stop the cross, trundling about as usual, half-hearted, going towards the guy who's crossing it in. And then when it does come in, another half-hearted, lazy, kind of stick the leg out by Raskin instead of trying to boot it away. And all he does is stop sub Cornelius from getting it, and it lands right at the striker's foot. Chests it down, and he just puts it into the net. So there's 2 goals from that position, our right hand side, and even the free kick from the right hand side. That's flashed into the box. We have no confidence about defending these things, and the guy actually shouldered it into the net. He didn't have to even head it, shouldered it. Why? Because Magoma, who's another useless fullback, he's the wrong side of him. Most of them were the wrong side of the mark that the guys were supposed to be marking. So any of them could have probably put it into the net. So 3 terrible goals to lose. In the first half, we had £8 million striker getting a lovely cross for once onto his head, unchallenged, nobody near him, 7 yards out, right in the middle of the goalie on his line, and he practically headed it right back to the goalkeeper like a pass back. £8 million for a guy who can't even head it into the net unchallenged. I suspect even Drossers would have put that in. And by the way, I'll say this, I still don't rate Drossers, but he was a million times better than Chermiti is. So I forgive him for that. He could always put the ball in the net occasionally. This guy looks as if he'll never score a goal when he misses chances like that. Later on, he missed another one where the ball was flashed across the face of the goal, and all he had to do was be in the right place or run into space, take a gamble, and he could have tapped into the net, and he didn't. And there are other chances I remember. Twice, Asgard got the ball in the box. First time he had a fresh air swipe at it when he tries to fire it into the net. And the second one, he gets it tangled in his feet and it gets cleared. So there's 3-4 chances we could have scored and didn't. So that sums this team up. We're, apart from the goalkeeper, we're poor in every department. Defence is shocking. Midfield's non-existent. Strikers who don't get chances, and even when they get them, they don't strike. And 2 wingers who flatter to deceive. So it's an absolute shambles. But getting rid of Tavernier is the first thing. And by the way, we're back to him taking everything. Corner kicks, free kicks, throw-ins. In the first day of training, did he go up to the new manager and say, listen boss, just to let you know, I take everything. Right side, left side, I take everything. Corners, free kicks, throw-ins, I take everything. So just let's keep it that way. No, stop him doing that if nothing else. He's not even good at it. Even if he was good at it, it wouldn't be a right thing to do. So just stop him doing it or get him out of the team totally. I can't go any further. I'm just exhausted. I'm fearing what's to come because it's not going to be much better than this.